Welcome back. It is time now to discuss another episode of Color Tid's podcast, Crime Traveler. You recognize reporter Bailey Stroll. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here. My first time at a 3 o'clock
I know.
show.
Thanks
It's
for coming on
crazy.
the show.
Well, we're glad. I run into you in the building, but not here. So
I know.
anyway, it's good to have you on today.
Yes.
So different reporters take on different episodes of Crime Traveler. Now, before we get into the discussion, we're going to give you a little clip of the latest episode. Take a listen.
It's a little past midnight on March 1st, 2017. 34-year-old Derek Osborne and his girlfriend, 27-year-old Valerie Williams, are arguing in their apartment in Springfield, Missouri. Neighbors hear what sounds like a body being thrown against a wall, then silence. Valerie Williams died that night, and a few minutes later, so did Derek and Valerie's unborn child. 4 years would pass until the community discovers how and why. Derek Osborne's trial in July 2021 would reveal the two had a violent relationship, one that led to a double murder.
A 27-year-old pregnant mother of two is dead tonight.
The medical emergency involving a female not breathing brought them to a Kelly Green's apartment.
Valerie Williams died of head trauma inside the apartment she shared with Osborne in March of 2017.
She was 16 weeks pregnant.
It attempted to prove a pattern of violence Williams had suffered in the relationship.
He slammed her against the wall.
I don't think that she just fell in for shame.
I didn't do anything to her.
Methamphetamine did not kill Valerie Williams. Derek Osborne killed Valerie Williams.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you covered this trial, Bailey.
I did, yeah. That's
Okay.
what's unique about this is I was at the trial. I wasn't necessarily at Cullerton when the murder happened, but I sat through the trial, 3 days, 3 or 4 days of it, and then yeah, we've covered the sentencing, the verdict, and everything since then.
What was it like to have to produce this, to, put it all together for you?
I would say it was probably one of the hardest things that I've ever produced because normally, we do a minute, 30-second story every day, and I would do a story every day on the trial. But then being able to, it was hard, but it was awesome to be able to put together a whole thing, and not leave any details out. I usually have to cut things and be able to just tell the whole story in one fell swoop when this was something that we had followed for 4 years and now it's there,
Especially having been in the courtroom and heard so much of the evidence and all of the testimony. But, so many of the Crime Traveler episodes that we've heard, you go back way back, a couple decades at least for some of these.
Yeah.
This one is relatively recent.
Yes.
In the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it's fresh for the community still. We were waiting 4 years to find out really what happened to her. And we were able to find out this past July, and then we're putting this out today, and the sentencing was just on October 29th. So it's been a very recent one. So it's a unique podcast compared to the other episodes that we've done.
Yeah.
Was there anything about, what you gathered together? Because I'm sure you gathered from disparate, pieces. Anything surprising, or you go, oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
You don't always get to hear from the person that did the killing. I think that's and maybe in other episodes we have that too, but this one, it was a little difficult for me because a lot of the sound that we had was from Derek himself. If you listen to the podcast, it's Derek talking. So it's hard to, take what he said with a grain of salt, but he's the one telling the story. So I think that's the most surprising thing when you listen. You get to listen to him telling the story.
And I know as a reporter, sometimes these stories are really hard to cover. Difficult at all to revisit, or just in the reporter in you still wants to dig into it a little bit and see what you find?
I do. There are some things that when I go back and listen, I'm like, I'd like to know. There's still some questions there, and a lot of the questions we just won't know. Derek says some things. Valerie also cannot say now what really happened, but it's clear that the judge didn't believe what Derek said. You'll hear what he says, but he didn't believe it, and that's why he's going to be behind bars. But it was for me covering it, I think the most chilling thing was she had tried to get help. 2 police reports were filed beforehand. She was trying, she was telling friends, and it was a very sad ending.
I do remember when it happened and seeing some social media posts to that effect.
Yeah.
And it's just terrifying. It's so very sad.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the episode is up now.
It should be up, yes, and we have a full web story too if you'd rather read than listen. But yeah, if you want to listen, you want to hear everything, it's there.
Good work. Keep up the good reporting. Bailey Stroll, we appreciate you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
All right, it's time to check out what's